Dragon Ball Xenoverse 3 is bringing back one of the oldest mechanics ever from Xenoverse 1, the Z Assist effect, now being renamed to the Soul Assist effect. In this video, I'll be telling you the full details of what the original Z Assist effect was and how it's been massively changed in the newest game, Dragon Ball Xenoverse 3. Hello everyone, it's me again, Steedoj here, back with some more Dragon Ball Xenoverse 3, and this time I wanted to talk about the Soul Assist feature, because they actually finally remembered Z Assist from Xenoverse 1, and oh my god, this is good to hear, because I want to tell you guys something really quick. Xenoverse 1 had Z Assists. Xenoverse 2 references them, especially to this day. If you go in the game right now and try and make a female Saiyan, it will tell you that Z Assists are in the game, but they are not in the game. Xenoverse 2 has not had Z Assists in it for almost 10 years, and they have not changed that line, which is really confusing, because if you go online and you search Z Assist right now, there's a ton of people asking all over Reddit, Twitter, many other social media spaces wondering, what are Z Assists? What do they do? There are more people who have been exposed to that one line of text about Z Assists in Xenoverse 2 than they've actually seen the mechanic overall. So I do not blame any of you guys for not remembering that this was a thing in the games, and Xenoverse 3 is finally bringing it back. Now in Xenoverse 3, it's called the Soul Assist. Maybe it'll be renamed to the Z Soul Assist or the Super Soul Assist. Who knows? We don't know yet because they haven't revealed the official gameplay trailer for this. But the information says call upon legendary warriors to provide powerful support, turn the battle in your favor. Now I do think, unlike Xenoverse 1, this will be its own dedicated button rather than a random chance of happening if a character has mentorship with you. But let's explain how it worked in Xenoverse 1 first before we go in depth on how the Soul Assist system has been completely changed between the games. Now in Xenoverse 1, the Z-Soul system was very specific in the way it worked. It only worked if 1, the mentor you had was equipped, 2, the mentor's ultimate attack specifically that they taught you was also equipped, and 3, there's a chance that it could activate more often or do more damage if you had the mentor specific Z-Soul from the training equipped, not just any mental Z-Soul. So if you wanted to use a Z Assist in Xenoverse 1, 2 things you needed to do no matter what was use specifically the Mentor's ultimate that they taught you. A good example is if I use Super Spirit Bomb, I would never get a Z Assist, but if I use Super Kamehameha, there's a chance of it coming up, and Goku would have to be my mentor. It can't be Beerus, it can't be Cell, who also knows perfect Kamehameha and Super Kamehamehas, right? It had to be Goku specifically. And when Goku was equipped, I could then equip Goku's Master Z-Soul. Keep in mind there are 2 different types of Z-Souls in Xenoverse 1. You have the regular Z-Souls, which are just, the regular ones. Then you have the Master Z-Souls, which are Z-Souls you get from your mentors during their final training sessions. And they usually have an 100% chance to drop because they want you to obviously be able to use it. And all that does is increase the damage of the Z-Assist. And the only reason it increases the damage of the Z-Assist, by the way, is because it buffs all of the mentor's attacks. So realistically, if you had a higher level attack buff, you could just use that instead because it would still stack with the Z Assist, because Z Assist's main feature was the fact that it would give you a nearly 50% damage boost to the move that was being Z Assisted. I do want to remind you that a nearly 50% damage boost is still bigger than anything I think we still have in Xenoverse 2, so you can imagine now when Z Assist went off, you just kind of died if they hit you. Now, obviously, the effect of the Z Assist kind of depends on the ultimate attack, because every ultimate attack functions differently and some are just outright better than others. A good example is that Gohan and Videl were also a mentor in Xenoverse 1, and if any of you guys have played Xenoverse 1, you would know that the Fear of Justice combination that everyone has from Xenoverse 2 actually first developed in Xenoverse 1, because in Xenoverse 1, Justice combination was just the strongest ultimate in the game by far, and if their Z Assist ever flashed that when you were getting hit by it, you could literally just turn the game off and reload it. It'd be faster than going through the you lose screen and having to wait for your next match. Like that's how strong certain Z Assists were. And some of you guys might actually remember a very famous video that came out during early Xenoverse 1, back when all of the ultimate attacks were way more ridiculous. Xenoverse 2 ultimates still haven't reached this level, but when Xenoverse 1 first came out, certain moves like Supernova and God of Destruction, Beerus' Sphere of Destruction were giga broken. And there's one specific video where there's a guy who's spamming Beerus' balls, for lack of a better word, and he's got the Z-Soul effect on it happening non-stop, and it's just one-shotting everybody in player matches. So Z-Assists used to be insanely crazy broken, but again, they were random chance, and the chance was boosted if you picked a female Saiyan. This description is still on the game in Xenoverse 2, but it doesn't actually happen in Xenoverse 2. So basically, female Saiyans just don't have a unique mechanic. So if you're wondering why female Saiyans were worse than every other race, on top of having the worst animations in the game for combat, they also literally don't even have a race unique buff. If they do have a race unique buff, it's probably the same as the male Saiyans, which is just when they're at low health, they gain stat increases. But not having a unique buff overall just kind of hurts, because with male Saiyans, they at least have the highest basic attack in the game. Female Saiyans are supposed to have a Z Soul effect that doesn't even happen. They literally do less Ki Blast damage than female Earthlings and Freezers in Xenoverse 2 if they don't have a Z Soul effect, and they don't have a Z Soul Assist effect. So maybe in Xenoverse 3, if they don't change the description a third time, at least with the Soul Assist feature in the game, it'll actually trigger. But in Xenoverse 2, it's weird how female Saiyans just don't have a race unique buff. The only thing they have is the same thing as male Saiyans, which is when you're on danger health, you get like a stat increase, but like that's normal. That's a normal race buff. Like, for example, both Earthlings still have, oh, we can just regenerate ki whenever, no matter what, right? But they still have their unique effects, like male Earthlings do more strike, and female Earthlings do more ki blast. So female Saiyans just not having a race unique buff is another reason why they've been so bad for the entire lifespan of Xenoverse 2. Like, seriously, think about it. You know that one Goma Super Soul we got recently in Xenoverse 2 that increases your ultimate attack damage by 1.5 times but only does it once? Imagine that triggering nearly almost every time you fire off an ultimate as a female Saiyan. Female Saiyans would have had access to a 50% damage buff since the beginning of the game, and making it very scary if one ever threw an ultimate your way. But that can't happen. We'll never see a female Saiyan ever put pressure like that. Like, think about it. With moves like Godly Display, Sign of Awakening, Special Beam Cannon Beast, Circle Flash, Remote Serious Bomb, all of these great ultimate attacks we have in the game now, imagine if all of those could get buffed in some way by female Saiyans. Hell, even some of the custom partner ultimates probably would have got affected by this buff. A good example being Power Rush. Not that you can survive Power Rush normally anyways, but imagine if that got Z-Soul buffed. You would literally just be dead 100% of the time. Now, moving on to Xenoverse 3, how does Xenoverse 3 change the system? Well, for one, I don't think Xenoverse wants to do 50% damage buffs anymore. Very obvious by the fact that they are very reluctant to even give us extra damage because they know we can stack Super Saiyan 3, Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Blue Evolved, Beast, all of these transformations on top of things that we can already do. And not to mention, again, Super Souls in the game have been getting crazy recently. Ever since they added the Turbo Super Soul, they've been getting reckless with damage buff Super Souls, man. They started doing Super Souls that let you stack damage, like the Kamehameha Super Soul, the Gallic Gun Super Soul, the Double Sunday Super Soul. They are obviously, you know, very reluctant to give us extra damage. So I do think Soul Assist in Xenoverse 3 will be nowhere near as ridiculous as the Z-Soul effect in Xenoverse 1. But I do think it's going to be its own independent button press that you can kind of just use. Maybe not whenever, but in certain instances you'd be able to call on your mentor to come assist you. Because again, the cinematic angle that's being shown in the gameplay screenshots isn't as crazy as the one in Xenoverse 1 for doing ultimate attacks. It does look like a very simple angle, not to mention the Gallic Gun is very obviously not Super Gallic Gun. That is just a normal looking Gallic Gun effect. If you compare the Gallic Gun's beam effect to the Kamehameha's beam effect, and even the other Gallic Gun that they show in the same scan, it all looks like it's the same size beam, the same effect. It doesn't look like the visuals are even slightly different. So this is not Super Gallic Gun. This is just a normal Gallic Gun being Soul Assist boosted, which makes me very curious. Are we finally going to have Z Soul Assist for super attacks? Because in Xenoverse, again, in Xenoverse 1, they were only for ultimate attacks, and even then, only specific ultimate attacks. But it seems like Z Soul effects might be that if any character has a move that they can come alongside and help fire alongside with, that's the way it's going to work. Now, again, I'm not saying that they won't do dual ultimates, because most likely they'll still do them. We'll still get Z-Soul effects where you can have double Super Ghost Kamikaze attack, double Dragon Fist, double Meteor Explosion, double Revenge Death Ball. I'm very sure they'll still do that, but it is interesting to note that the Gallic Gun effect does not look to be different at all. Also, not to mention with Soul Assist, obviously, the character is actually physically there with you. He's not just like a ghost that comes in to like assist you with an attack. The character seems like they do actually physically show up to help you alongside with the move. Not to mention that, again, this might be a reach because you could see this in some of the other Super Attack screenshots as well, but there's a similar lightning-looking aesthetic on the Soul Assist screenshot compared to the normal Super Attack screenshot. I just do think that's very interesting that the certain blue lightning that's there with the Z-Soul effects in Xenoverse 1 is here in Xenoverse 3 with the Soul Assist. Again, it could just be cope because this is a still image. Firing an energy blast, there could be any amount of screen effects, and I wouldn't be able to tell based on a still image. We are going to need an actual gameplay trailer. Again, please Bandai Namco drop that gameplay trailer. We're going to need an actual gameplay trailer to know what's truly going on in this image. But for now, it does seem like that is exactly what it is. It's just the Z-Soul effects from Xenoverse 1. Copy and paste it over to Xenoverse 3, but this time it looks like it's going to be more than just ultimate attacks. It looks like it's going to also affect super attacks. And even then, it doesn't look like it's going to be tied specifically to your mentor or the mental system in the game. It looks like it's going to be its own independent button press in which a character will come in and assist you with the attack as you're firing. I do want to point out, there are two separate beams happening in this image. This isn't one beam with a ghost behind you like Father-Son Kamehameha. This does look like two separate beams. So it does look far more like a dual ultimate than it does look like a Z-Soul assist from Xenoverse 1. So I did want to mention that. It does look like 2 separate attacks are happening at the same time. So big rebalance of the system, because obviously this is going to boost the damage a lot. Maybe it will still do a 50% damage increase since it's 2 extra blasts being fired now. But this actually makes me curious, and I'm going to go on a small like off-topic tangent here. This makes me curious, what is the hit detection going to be like in Xenoverse 3? Because in Xenoverse 2, if you and another player try to fire 2 separate beams at one singular target, you'll lose like half of the damage in both beams. It basically, well, there basically won't be a damage increase because of the way the damage tick rate works in Xenoverse 2. But in Xenoverse 3, if they're very confident to put 2 beam effects right next to each other hitting the same target, it must mean that the damage tick rate in Xenoverse 3 is way higher, meaning that jumping people is going to actually be more effective in this game since they'll be openly ready to take more damage. Certain moves also have better hit detection too, because the whole tick rate will actually go through rather than, you know, being really awkward. So maybe the hit detection in the game is just going to be way better overall, because I just wanted to quickly explain that, because as someone who nerds about Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 and all the hitboxes and hit detection and lag, it's very curious that they're confident enough to have 2 beams hitting the same target, because it means that the damage system is going to be different overall, and that makes me very happy, because actually having more moves work in the game, yes sir, I want that. Okay, but I think this is a great place to end the video. Man, I cannot wait to see how the Soul Assist feature works, because again, as someone who did actually play Xenoverse 1, seeing the Z Assist feature come back in any way is really, really cool, especially after it's just been waving over your head for over 10 years. Well, it's going to be over 10 years by the time this game comes out, when in Xenoverse 2 with female Saiyans just not being able to activate it, but having it be their only unique ability. Like, bro, imagine if female margins didn't have the faster stamina recovery when they were stamina broken, or male margins just weren't tanky at higher stamina. Like, that'd be so weird if you just said that they were like this and then they weren't like that. But either way, I think that's a great place to end the video, lads. I do hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you enjoyed the video, then obviously again, please leave a like on the video. Don't forget to subscribe, it greatly supports the channel, and leave a comment down below as to what you'd like to see next, fellas. Again, I do love you all. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I will see you all next time. Take care and peace. Bye bye.